Oh yeah, that's
Hey, you guys. I'm Shantae.
And I'm Kip Paul, and welcome to Helpish.
We are at season 2, episode 9, you guys, and we are out here on this beautiful day, and we have a very special guest with us,
Yes, we do.
and his name is Cole. So we are going to walk right on over here to Cole and get this show on the road.
it's on the road.
Right? Right.
How's it going, fellas?
Right.
Good.
How y'all doing?
So, hi, Cole.
How's it
Welcome to Helpish. We are so happy to have you.
Glad to be here.
Okay, and so we're just going to jump right into things.
Okay.
Can you tell us at Healthish,
Yeah.
what is your profession?
Okay. So that's a loaded question, right?
Right.
Because I tend to be all over the place. I'm often known of having my hands in a lot of places. But I think really, to be quite honest, when I think about my work, it's really geared around supporting families. And so I work primarily with families of color. And I serve fathers. So I work with young fathers, I work with older fathers, I work with incarcerated fathers, and I also work with parents who have children on probation. And so I am blessed to be able to do that simply because I am a father, and now I have adult children. But it's really been my need to be able to really understand how community functions and works by simply looking at how the family functions and works. And so for me, it's just a blessing to be able to work with families in our community to talk about issues and challenges that impact us.
Okay.
So yeah.
So I am just like into this fatherhood thing,
Yep.
Because my father, Kip Paul, is a good father as well.
Well, thank you.
And he believes in, being a father at all times. So,
Yes.
I don't know if my dad has an expression or you want me to ask her.
You go ahead and you ask. I'm enjoying today's guest.
Okay.
The pre-interview. There are things that we're gonna obviously go into in a minute. But go ahead.
Okay, so Cole, can you tell us on Healthish, how do you feel having good health plays a role into being a positive father figure?
Yeah, I mean, too, when I think about the role of father, that oftentimes I have to go back to what it means to be a healthy man. And I recognize that so often we are living in a country and in a society where the idea of maintaining your health is being stretched, it's being pulled, and it's really difficult to even maintain your physical health, because it's even difficult to maintain your mental health.
Amen.
And so this idea of really focusing on health is necessary, it's important, because I recognize when a family isn't healthy, guess who's impacted by that? Children. And so it's so important for us to be able to be healthy, but that's a task, especially because no one really sets that example. So I can recognize growing up and not necessarily seeing men even eat healthy fruit. That wasn't something that I necessarily saw. So for me, I think when we think about our children, we have to understand that we're the first models of that. And I also recognize that tradition passes down the types of food that we eat. And so there's an emotional component that comes with it too. So my emotional need to eat well had nothing to do with what was really going on with me mentally. So I just wanted to eat. So eating for me was how I got healthy or unhealthy. So I stayed unhealthy, eating unhealthy food, but it was also comforting. So as crazy as that sounds, it was like, and I passed that down. So when I'm stressed out, guess what I go and eat? I'm gonna order me a 12-inch pizza, deep dish, all of the fixings, because I want to feel good.
Okay.
Right? And so it's this idea of always feeling good. I want to eat it up. I want to drink it up. If I can smoke it up, if I can sex it up, I'm gonna do all these things because I'm not really truly ready to deal with the real issues that I've been buried underneath that.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I think fatherhood is so necessary and it's so important, because fathers first have to recognize the challenges that they've experienced as boys to becoming men that impacts their health as a father.
Okay.
I'm really impressed with Mr. Cole, and I love our pre-interview and the meeting and things that we talked about. Also, just bringing up something that we didn't necessarily discuss, but I did with my daughter getting ready for the interview, that you adopted some kids.
Yep.
And you raised them, And
Yeah.
that's something a lot of young African American men, wouldn't take that on
Yeah.
because of the responsibility factor. And I just want you to explain to the audience, why you did that.
Yeah. Thing. So I'm in the social work field. I'm working at this agency, and I'm starting to notice that in the agency that I'm working in, I'm starting to see black and brown boys coming in and out of that agency quite frequently than I want to see. And so I began to ask the question about the abuse and neglect system, and I'm sort of saying to the folks, I'm like, well, how are we supporting these kids in a real way?
Right.
And at the time, I was already a single father. I had a 13-year-old son, just moved to Grand Rapids, had been in the social work field here probably for less than a year. And as I started to see that evolving door of these young men coming into care, leaving and getting support with foster parents, but then finding themselves breaking placement is what they describe it as, and then they're returning back into the system. And so I said to myself, well, how can I be of service? How can I be of help? And part of that too is recognizing, as men, as fathers, we also have to recognize our gifts.
That's right.
And so I had someone in my life, in my journey, name my gift for me. And that is why I became a licensed foster parent, because a gift was named. And I think that's another important piece of fatherhood, because fathers have to be healthy enough to be able to recognize their children's gift and give it a name so their children can explore it. And oftentimes when we don't give them the gift and name that gift for them, they'll go all over the place trying to figure it out. But I think as fathers, we have a responsibility to observe that and then speak that. And so that became really what I decided to do. I just said, hey, I'm going to be a foster parent. I asked my son, I was like, yo, what you think about us becoming a foster family? And he was like, I'm cool. And later when I talked to him about it, he was like, well, I just imagine finally having help with the chores. And so that was his capacity in terms of like really understanding what we were embarking on. And it's interesting because my foster care experience really happened here at King Park. We lived right up on Benjamin in Franklin here. And it was in that home that I really figured out who I was as a man. And that I thought I knew everything, and discovered that my sons had taught me more about myself than I really knew. And I think it was due to fatherhood and raising sons from backgrounds and morals and values that I didn't necessarily come with, that they had of their own, that really shifted me as a father and as a man. And so I have had to really re-examine how I think, how I experience the world through fatherhood. But it was really taking that leap of fathering children outside of my front yard in order to make that impact. And that's really all I did. And I tell people all the time, yo, all I did was what we have always done as men in our villages.
Right.
When children need our help, we have a responsibility to help them.
Now, how many children did you adopt?
Man, so in total we fostered 7 sons, but I was really able to adopt 1. And all of my other sons went back to family, which is a part of the system in itself. The goal as a foster parent is to create that bridge for families and for children to be supported back home.
Okay, so that's a lot.
Awesome.
7
Yeah.
young men,
Awesome.
lives forever changed and impacted by you, Cole.
And they impacted me. So as much as I was like, it was about the work that I was doing for them, no, I was a mess. I was a mess when I showed up in their life. And I really had to learn how to be a father through the experience of parenting them. And so they really gave me the grace. They really showed me the mercy for me to make mistakes in how I was raising them. And then they still stuck by my side. And so that's what children do. We don't give children enough credit.
Right.
They do that unconditional love. It cannot be defined by adults.
I sure hope that in you, Healthish Nation, watching this particular episode, you can see how special Mr. Cole is.
Yes.
I mean, for me, growing up, my father is in my life now, but as a young kid growing up, I didn't have my father growing up in my life. And for a lot of young African-American males as a kid, in all actuality, growing up in the 70s, it wasn't Bill Cosby. It was actually James Evans Sr. from Good Times.
Come on.
He, without a doubt, for me, is my hero. But I have met somebody that's a hero, and that is this guy,
Cole.
Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole, one word just comes to mind, and that's that Mr. Cole just shared life with these kids.
Young men. Gave him a
And
second chance.
That's right. And you are to be commended for that, because
Absolutely.
you also grew with them. and you're sharing that story. And once again, that's what Healthish is all about, is talking about different elements of sharing, and especially where health is concerned in there. I'm listening to you talking about the mental and the emotion side now. I love that. Cole, I am so glad to met you today and to hear your story about you and your work. And the audience doesn't know, but our last guest and Mr. Cole are going to do some collaboration together, because there's so much more in our community that needs to be explored as far as black men working with young black children.
And we at Healthish, we support you, Cole, in what
Yes,
you're
we
doing.
do. Yeah.
And we are so humbled and honored to be able
we
to have
are.
had this opportunity with you, just to hear what you've had to say. Now, I noticed that you're pretty svelte yourself.
Yep.
I hope I said that correct.
That's hey, it works.
I've been practicing that word all day. But anyways, so you maintaining your own diet and keeping yourself together. I just want to know, just real quick, what kind of foods do you eat right now, though?
That is so. What's been really interesting is my son has actually been my motivator.
Okay.
Right. He is a health trainer, and so he trains
Oh.
at fitness. He trains at Fitness 19, and what he doesn't know is actually he has been my motivator, because food is never. I struggle with food. Food has always been my emotional space that I go to for safety due to childhood trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to watch my son come out of being parented by a father who comes from that space to be now he's working out. I mean, he's a trainer. He's training others. He's eating well. He's teaching me. I'm calling him and saying, "Okay, son, what do I need to do to work on this? Son, what should I be eating?" And so that's one of the things I think that I've had to learn, because when I get upset about something, I turn to food. So it ain't nothing for me to pull up at Popeyes real quick, or go to Wendy's and get a Asiago chicken sandwich number 8 with the cheese and the man
And the red
with
sauce.
that bacon and that.
Oh, I like that sandwich, but I ain't want to do it alone. Nice.
Right.
That
So,
used to be one of my friends too, Cole.
Okay,
That was my
good.
go-to, and so to be transparent and
I
honest,
love it.
I'm still in my journey of eating healthy, but I recognize that one of the things I've had to learn how to do is be disciplined in my thoughts, but most importantly, reach out to people that can help me navigate those waters.
Okay, yes.
So I'm learning, and so every once in a while I might grab a salad, but I'm learning how to just take it one day at a time. And you know what I'm learning not to do is to continue to shame myself for not doing it when I'm supposed to do it.
There
Right?
you go.
Because
That's
shame
good.
is the one I think that beats me up and beats a lot of us up.
Right.
And just reimagining how I have to eat, and just really being honest with myself that we are what we eat.
Yes.
And so just taking those baby steps. So I'm a toddler in that. Now, fatherhood, I'm here. But when you talk about eating healthy, I'm a toddler, and so I'm
Well,
learning from my son.
we're here at Healthish.
Yeah.
Want to help,
Yeah.
encourage,
Yeah.
motivate,
Yeah.
and properly educate when it comes to being Healthish, right? And so my father
I'm
has,
your father.
right? You know, look at that, y'all. We take.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
It sure isn't simple, but it's doable.
Yes.
You just have to take a little discipline, and you do have to have times to where what you're saying, Cole, you do have to do that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling that you need to have that chicken sandwich or a donut or some cookies or whatever, then do that.
Yeah.
But then you get back to where you need to be. That's all.
And
That's how
so
you do it.
we at Healthish, like I said, we appreciate you so much for coming on our show. My father has something that he would like to present to you, Cole.
Cole, welcome to Healthish Nation, the family. We
That's
are
it.
so happy
Thank you.
to have you on board. Cole, without a doubt, just like our last guy, you have cemented your footprints in Brick as one of our all-time top favorites. We thank you once again for coming on the show, and God bless. Cole.
Thank you.
God
Thank you.
bless.
Thank you
Yes,
for
because
having
you know what, you guys understand that family values is very important to have. And a lot of family values have been broken.
Yes.
And this is why me and my dad are so happy to be able to come together to do shows like this for people like you guys out there.
That's
So when
right.
you watch and share our content, it not only solidifies your place in Healthish Nation as our family, but it also can help save someone else's life and help encourage them on their journey too. So we want you to keep sharing.
That's right. Check us out on Facebook and
YouTube,
Yeah.
Instagram, you guys,
right.
because we're here for the long haul.
That's right.
Check us out on our next episode coming up very soon. And we at Healthish just want to remind you guys that it's not selfish